believe that love is an uncontrollable force. It's a silent killer that shows up.
I love being black.
That's working towards self-sufficiency because we haven't traditionally the socialized black man, black woman in America, we haven't been trained in survival. What do you think is the common things that we all should have in our home for protection? So if something go down, we okay. We got the bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should have a bug out bag, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A bag in case of emergencies, you know what I'm saying? Flashlight, battery, a lighter, maybe change of clothes. You need to have some water, canned goods, stuff like that. I mean, if the lights go out, how you gonna eat? What you gonna do for the next 2 days? We at least had 2 days worth of services. We need to figure out where the resources are in the community and identify a meeting spot. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go out with your kids to the mall or something, if we get mixed up, we don't meet here. We're not doing that in the community. We need a meeting spot. We need to know where the resources are. You need to have some kind of bug out bag for in case of emergency for at least 3 days. You know?
Right. And I like what you said, that last piece. You was just like, we need to have a meeting spot or something like that. When I was younger, me and my dad and my sisters, we had a code word. We had a whistle. So if we ever get broken up, I know that whistle. I know that code word. So we ever be like, okay, if I hear that whistle from down here, you know, my parents is close by, my family member is close by, some code stuff, you know, not just to have, but to utilize.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
man. I mean, you know, in Oakland, it's a lot of black people, so we don't see it as significant. But I've been to other states, man, where it be like, you be in the mall, it's like 5 black people there, and they like your best friend when you see them. You know what I'm saying? You're like, hey, you know what I mean? So we need to be keeping that kind of energy, you know what I'm saying, everywhere. Even if you're in prison, man. When I was in prison, I had to go to the bathroom. 2 brothers had to guard the door. Another brother had to stand in the bathroom with me to make sure I'm not attacked with my pants down. But then we get to the streets, you know, call ourselves free. And we don't protect each other. We don't think about if each other's eating and stuff like that. You know, H. Rap Brown, Imam Jamil Alameen talk about that in his book, the Revolution, the Book of Revolution. He's like, you talk about I die for you, I kill for you, but you won't share your burger with a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? We got to think differently.
Right. Yeah, and I think like, bro, it's just like, you know, only when we in dangerous circumstances are we thinking, but by the time we get to there, it's too late. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like you said, like you in prison, you know the elements going on in prison. You know it's survival amongst anything all y'all got in prison. But when we go out to the streets, we looking at each other like, who is this nigga? You know what I mean? Like instead of saying, hey, what's up, brother? What's up, King? What's up, God? What's up? You know what I mean? Whatever it is, and being like, I see you up in here. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir, man. And just a good word make a change people's whole attitude, man. Be the difference if they gonna commit suicide or not. You know what I'm saying? If somebody looking funny, that don't mean they mad at you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They can be going through whatever, but we take things personally. You know what I mean? Rather than empathizing with others. It's a struggle from the time we born.
Right.
You feel me? We came from the scrotum fighting. You know what I'm saying? We hit the egg. Then on the way out, you know what I'm saying? It was blood and pushing and screaming, and then you know your heartbeat. You know. Everything seemed violent, you know what I'm saying, in our lives. We don't get no R&R. We don't get to sit back and think about it. Even the military get R&R. They out for like 9 months, then they get a few months to sit back and reflect. We don't get none of that. We at war from the time we born to the time we die.
Man, that's crazy. And around it, and like these days, like we talk a lot about mental health, and I just want to know, like, how can like us showing our agency in the community, meaning that showing our action in the community, actually contribute to our mental health? How could that help us? You feel me?
Yeah, but for me, I got this broken window theory. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when I was in prison, I made a vow to go back to fix all the windows that I broke. You know what I'm saying? We're a reflection of what we do in our community. And as we clean up our own community, other people will give them permission to do those things too. So I'm like, only way God gonna forgive me for the things that I done was to go back and fix it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I break your window and I say sorry, what kind of apology is that? You know what I'm saying? But when I replace your window, then we can talk about the healing. Like Malcolm said, they just stuck that knife in your back 6 inches, you pull it out 3 inches, it's still in there. So we got to take the knife out. We got to patch it up and talk about the healing first. You know, we want to skip over all of that and just think things is cool.
Right. And really do that self-reflection because, like, man, like you said, a window will show you who you are, but it'll also show you look like somebody else, right? Yeah. And it'll also show you like the repair that we need to do in our community, and each one teach one and to help people and shit like that. So, man, I appreciate that. The next thing I want to talk about, I think I touched on it just a little bit before when we talked about like the highly militarized state that we in right now. With all the police and stuff like that. Even before the protests, you were seeing there's like the police, there's OPD, there's CHP, all out there. What are they doing that for?
Man, they provoking us. They want martial law. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. I think that we haven't reacted in the past the way they want us to react. You know, you see with George Floyd, they looked into the camera for all that time, like, yeah, what are y'all gonna do? React. Yeah. So I think they forcing us to react. You know, if you look at the protests that just happened in LA, where all them rocks come from, they got the police cruisers just sitting there waiting to just get stoned. So they want to show a certain narrative of us. Yeah. So, it's all a setup so that they can do that, bring in martial law and get us up out of here anyway. It's part of their long-term plan.
Right. And that's what it seemed like, along with all the other shit, it seemed like shit is just drying up. It seemed like the finances is drying up. It seemed like, depending on what you in, right? It seemed like the finances is drying up. The agriculture is drying up. The housing market is skyrocketing. And for Black people, there's no even playing field. And it's been like this for maybe the past 15 years. And we not seeing it. We just seeing, and that's what caused like sort of like the feud of arguing over resources with the Latin community, right? Is because we fighting for jobs, we fighting for land and stuff like that. But it's all being kind of like trickled down from the power structure, you know, and causing us to do this bullshit. And now we in the terms of like we almost fight over everything. Like what could we be doing right now to make sure that we survive all of this, to make sure we still thriving in this.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, you know, by the statistics, in the last 15 years, I think we went from like 76% Black in Oakland to less than 22%. So it's by design. They forcing us out. They used Section 8. They gave Section 8 vouchers to go to Pittsburgh, Stockton, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we are competing for resources in a city where we used to be the prominent, you know what I'm saying, the majority. So it's but we seen it happen in Chicago. We seen it happen in St. Louis, where they do the gentrification. They tear down the so-called project and put people all dispersing through the community. Violence increases. It's by design. It's happened over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? That's how they colonized us. You know what I'm saying? They use the same trick book. So with us knowing that they're using the same trick book, we can subverse it, you know what I'm saying? Up and down California, they got little cities that you can buy, you know what I'm saying? I've been through Georgia, man, they got whole areas like, you know what I'm saying, where we can put our money together, 40 families come together, put our money together and have our own communities and build. You know what I mean? You look at Tulsa, they just had 40 acres of land that they took and pastored out to different business people and built that. So we just got to know and believe that we can do it. You know what I'm saying? We just keep on waiting and begging. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else to do it. And I've heard examples of people who have bought property and have a thriving community right now. You know, the Republic of New Africa, they did it in Mississippi, where they bought up a lot of Jackson, and then they sent the Lumumba became the mayor. You know what I'm saying? So there's examples of it happening, you know what I'm saying? And it was examples from the past. You know, Tulsa wasn't the only place. We had Allenstown, we had Rosewood, we had, you know what I'm saying? So it's for us to look back, to move forward in the spirit of Sankofa, to know where we came from, to know where we could go, because like we stuck on individualism. We got successful Black people in our community, but they separated themselves from the community. You know what I'm saying? They make their little money. They go to the hills. You know what I'm saying? But Garvey said we need to keep all the Black people in the same community. That way we can control tax dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you complain about the schooling, but you're not controlling your tax dollars because we separating ourselves.
Right.
So we got to concentrate ourselves in communities so that we can protect each other, that we can share resources. I remember when I used to go get sugar next door. You know what I'm saying? Now, most people can't name 5 neighbors in their neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So self-love and love for the community come first before we start talking about protesting some outside force. Because our lack of love for each other gives them permission to come in and do what they do. Right. You know what I mean? How could we be mad at the Mexican community for sticking together or the Asian community for sticking together when we can't do it? You know what I mean? So it's on us to do what we got to do, look inside of our own communities for the resources that we need and stop looking outside of ourselves and to save us. You know what I mean? Exactly. We got it. All the nuts. We got doctors, lawyers, construction, our children. They did.
We probably know more now than we knew 100 years ago.
Right. That's how our children are so smart, man. They grab a little computer devices, and I can't do most of the stuff that they can do on it. You know what I'm saying? AI, like. So we're not taking full advantage of this because our mental state, we got a lack mind state, a poverty mind state. We always looking for somebody to be against us, like the fly in the jar. You kept trying to get out, and you stopped trying. The jar open, and that's where we at right now. We can build our own banks. We do have black banks, but we're not supporting them because the narrative from the past tell us don't trust black people. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's crazy you just said that, and along those lines is you pulled up, right? And I was supposed to have an interview. That's why I just I had, you know what I mean, I left my job or whatever, bro, to do this. You know what I mean? To really push this culture forward, push, you know what I mean, who we are, Black liberation, through poetry, through podcasts, through all of this, bro. And you pulled up just now, right? You pulled up just in time, and I seen, and I knew the interview was coming up. She was just like, "Oh yeah, you got a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a minute." Woo woo. And she was just like, "Here's the pay for the job." It wasn't satisfactory to me. And she was like, "You still want to go on with the interview?" I looked at her, I said, "Man, this shit more important than that." And I was just like, "No, I don't want to do that." Because it's just like what you're saying. It's just like what you're saying right now, bro. We gotta have a mission. We gotta have direction of what we doing. And when it comes down to us, this is all we got, man. Even just putting this into the universe is gonna help somebody. It's gonna help somebody get on their feet. It's gonna change their direction. It's gonna change the trajectory of somebody's life. Shit, you sitting down with me before we even got on the camera, you was spitting some shit that I didn't even know. That's gonna have me go look back and be like, "Damn, man. Okay, we gotta keep pushing." You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. You said it. I think about it, man. We at war for our people's minds, you know what I'm saying? So what I look like to not be on time, you know what I'm saying? The battlefield. Yeah, man, we kick off it at 1:00. Your flank man ain't there. Your reinforcements ain't there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? So we keep leaving our people on second standby when we're not the one that initiated. You know what I'm saying? So I love what you're doing, man. I appreciate what you're doing. Like I say, Garvey would have had a podcast. Right now. Malcolm X would have had a podcast. You know what I'm saying? So we got to spread our own narrative, keep our own propaganda out there, because if we don't, then they gonna make us look like. Exactly. Man.
And with that being said, this is Say Yo Peace Podcast. I'm in here with this good brother Jabari Garvey, man. This brother is a very immensely talented MC, poet, also an educator. We gonna talk a little bit about what he got going tomorrow, I believe, at Castlemont High School here in East Oakland, California. Because I think that's dope, reaching back to the youth. Because so many, and I'm gonna let you talk about it while you talk about while you going to do it for the youth, right? Because how I see it is there's a disconnect between what some of y'all call YNs and what some of we call the younger brothers that we need to reach back to, that ain't got no fathers, no uncles, no cousins, that actually need the support and looking up to us. And you feel me? Why is it important for you to go into the high schools, particularly Castlemont, a little bit what we talked about before we started and getting this going?
Yeah. Well, Jawanza Kajufu had a quote. He said, "For a black child to become a black engineer, he has to see a black engineer." So we have to be examples, the positive examples. You know, most of the time our youth only see the man on the corner, the drunk, the so-called pimp or a drug dealer. We got to show other examples of us and what we look like. Right. So one of our brothers is an educator at UNIA. He has a group called Unite, you know, and he's a teacher, so he does STEM, you know, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so he's mixing in the hip hop with it, you know what I'm saying, to keep him intrigued. So I'm coming in to tell them, you know, the history of hip hop, how it came in, why it's important for us telling our own narrative. And so, I mean, it's special because I got it when I was young. You know what I'm saying? I was in trouble, and they brought some dudes, some Kumi dudes in. They was like, man, you know, and he didn't tell us to organize. He said, it's the best thing that y'all can do is come together. But you got to know what you're coming together for, and you got to have some moves. You know what I'm saying? So for our youth, you know, somebody come in and preach to them and haven't seen or been through their struggle, they can't understand it. I've been through their struggle. And we put it together with other things too, because our kids need to know the best of science and technology and math, or else they gonna be lost. You know what I'm saying? We're way behind. You know, and we have a program with our division in Kenya. So we connected with Kenya. We raising money to send laptops out there and have communication, teach classes to them, and have them communicate back and forth with our youth here, so that they can learn Swahili and we can have a full cultural exchange. You got right now, this is the most time in the world people talking about they ain't from Africa. You know what I'm saying? When you tell youth about Africa, they still think about jungles and huts. You know, they don't know that
the white man did a number on us, boy.
Right. So it's about full culture exchange. You know what I'm saying? Getting them into that, sending resources to Africa and exchanging those resources, and paying attention to our youth, because like when I got my trade, when I got a job, I didn't have time to kick it no more. When you making $30, $40 an hour, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going out tonight, or I'm leaving at 10. You know what I'm saying? So we need to give them kind of options, because it's like survival of the fittest out here. Folks, most of our youth are doing what they're doing because they think that's the only way to survive. We give them more options, then they're likely to go another way. Did you know Pimp and Ken? Pimp and Ken denounced Pimps Up, Hoes Down. And he became Muslim. He's a Muslim. He's a Moor. And he's preaching power. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
And so we need more examples of that. When you can see somebody like Pimp Ken, he's been through it. I respected him as a
P, whatever.
When I was in that mind state. So for me to be able to evolve with him, and I want the youth in my city to be able to evolve with me. Like, I grew up and threw up in the city. You know what I'm saying? I've done everything that you did and everything that you want to do. And I'm telling you, it's a better way to do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was doing life on the installment plan. So you know what I'm saying? Because I was in jail 2-3 times a year, most of the year. They put me in the same cell. My mama like, oh, you back home again when I call. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is for most of us. And some of our youth think that that's a rite of passage. Like,
I was just about to say that, bro. But I'm gonna let you finish your thought.
But in the spirit of Malcolm, you know, and those who went and transformed their lives, you know what I'm saying? We can live it so that they don't have to live it. You know what I'm saying? We can tell them where to go so that they don't make the same mistakes. And that's what I'm trying to do, you know, because I got to answer to God at the end of the day. When all this is over, God gonna ask me, say, man, what did you do with the talents I gave you? What did you do with the knowledge that I gave you? You know what I'm saying? Did you use it in a destructive way, or did you use it to rebuild your people? So if I say that I love God, then I have to love God's people.
I say, man. Thank you for that. And just to add a little bit more context to that, you know, Huey P. Newton also said that the proletariat, which is the pimps, the hoes, and the gangsters or the drug dealers, are the ones that's going to transform our community, because they see it best, right? They see the oppression at its finest, up close and personal, right? But also, what I want to say, what you touched on, was the rites of passage, brother. What was your rites of passage? What would you say your rites of passage, and what should rites of passage look like for Black men, and sometimes if you can speak on Black women in today's time? What should the real rites of passage look like? Because that either be coming from a young man to a man, or a young woman to a woman. What should that rites of passage? Because I believe that's very important.
We have a program that we're doing from the 21st to the 24th. We take about 40 youth out camping, you know, but they're all young men, you know. They ride RVs, horses, do bow and arrow. We teach them how to pray, the rights of marriage, why it's important to be married. So it's mostly Islamic, it's Islamically based. But so we teach them how to be men. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be our 4th year taking them out there. And so that to take people away from their families, away from their computer and all of that, to get out and bond with other people that look like them, and you know what I'm saying? Because most of the time we think we on the island with our story, and then when somebody else's story resembles yours, then you get some power in that, and so that's one example of rites of passage for us. But I think that today we giving our youth too much choices. Like, you can be whatever you want to be in the world. Like, what do you mean you can be whatever you want to be? You know, you could be a girl, boy, whatever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? We need to assess what we need in our community. You know what I'm saying? If we need people trained in law, we need to get a community of people and train them in law. You know what I'm saying? We're giving them too many opportunities, too many choices, you know what I'm saying, rather than direction. So, and if they didn't like that, by 24, they could have had their degrees and then go back into what they want to go into. But I feel like that we need to be more into them, you know what I'm saying, and bringing out what's inside of our youth. So, and for young women, you know, like, I mean, young women don't even know how to wash themselves properly sometimes, you know, their mother's never been in their lives. So we need sisterhoods. Like, we had extended families back in the days, you know what I'm saying? Even in slavery, you know what I'm saying? They take your child, you see another child and care for them the same way. You know what I mean? And even when I was young, one of my young black friends was like, "Are all black people related?" Because every time I introduce them to somebody, they're like, "This my cousin, this my cousin." We got to go back to that mindset because we are extended family, and if we don't see it that way, then the youth gonna suffer.
Exactly. We gotta look out for each other, and I'm glad you said that because, I mean, there needs to be some type of intentionality about how we grow up. There needs to be some type of skills that we gather, so we not all over the place, and so we not where we at right now. You know what I mean? We made it here, great for us, but there needs to be like a bar. There needs to be like a code that we keep ushering into, so we can keep evolving and keep metamorphosizing.
Like, what does it mean to be black? What is justice? Like, if you ask 5 people in the room, what is justice? You get 5 different answers.
Damn.
You know what I mean? We need a unified front. You know what I'm saying? What do we want for our people collectively? Like, not what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Like, when we talk about reparations, you know what I'm saying? It's all these people that want to get an individual paycheck. You know what I'm saying? And the way that it's designed, and we think it should be like, okay, everybody should get some kind of payout. But a third of that should go to building infrastructures. You know what I'm saying, for our communities. And then another third should go to like organizations that's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? So you should get a payout, but you shouldn't just get a bunch of money that's gonna go right back to the white man or go back to our oppressor. We gotta build infrastructure. You know, we gotta make that money circulate. We gotta, you know what I'm saying, reward the people that's been doing the work. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to keep asking these outside entities for help. Because every time we ask them for aid, they control our program. We see it in our nonprofits right here in America. We see it in Africa. Every time they get aid, they running out the back door with a bunch of natural resources. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta understand that and evolve. I don't know why we haven't looked at the past and adjust our stance according to that.
Damn, man, that's powerful, man. And you do the work, man. I don't know if you consider yourself an activist. I definitely consider you a revolutionary, and there's a difference. So with doing the work and being so closely with the people, is it hard? Do you get down on yourself sometimes, or working with the people, because you know how our people can be, bro? You know what I mean? Like, how you deal with that if that's the case for you?
It's really hard. It's really hard. I had to, March 9th, 2015, I was in the passenger car of a car at the hospital with the FBI, U.S. Marshals, OPD, and some other units. It was a joint task force. It was after the killing of Michael Brown. We shut down the police station for 4.5 hours because he lay bleeding in the ground for 4.5 hours. So a few weeks after that, they came after me. they said I'm a case of mistaken identity. Where me in my heart, I said, man, they coming after me.
Yeah.
At that point, I had to commit revolutionary suicide, as UDP do to say. You know what I mean? I gave up my life, what I wanted. It's a lot of things that I'd rather be doing than be sitting up in the city council meetings and a school board meeting at a protest. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's plenty of other things to do, but I'm knowing that I'm trying to change my future, my you know what I'm saying? If reincarnation really happened, it would happen in my bloodline through my grandkids or great grandkids. So if I don't change the world and put something up for them, then you know what I'm saying? They're gonna suffer. I'm gonna suffer another tragic death in the next life. Yeah. So, and that's where I'm seeing it at. That's my logic in it.
Yeah, man, and that's deep, y'all. Like what he said, it goes deeper than just his physical. It's the spiritual self. Is looking beyond that. It's looking generational, and a lot of people that have a revolutionary mindset, have an activist mindset, it's not glorified. Right? It's not, you know, everybody ain't gonna celebrate you. You're gonna get a lot of hate. You're gonna be broke. You're gonna be whatever it is that you gotta put down all the material shit to face yourself and go out there and actually be who you are.
Yeah. But you have the question, if there was no heaven or no hell, what you do was right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If the light is red and there's no police around, do you run it or do you stop? Because you might run that light and hit a child. You might run that light and run into a truck. Right. Because you can't foresee what's there. So we need rules. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for anarchy. We need laws. We need rules. The governors. If not, it's chaos. Yeah. And I think that's what's going on right now with individualism. You know, we need more collectives. You know, it's good we got black businesses, but we don't have enough black collectives. We're not putting our monies together, our resources together. We're not going to buy our stuff in bulk so we can get a cheaper price. Right. And so everybody is struggling.
Right. Man. He giving me a lot of stuff to think about, man. Y'all just listen to this, man. How was your Juneteenth performance? I know you said, man, you've been waiting to do this. And first of all, let's talk about Juneteenth real quick before we get into that. And let's talk about what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be that they freed us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Technically. And it was a situation about the people in Texas, from my understanding, that the people in Texas who didn't get the notice. Okay. So they said the people was free, but they kept them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They didn't hit their drums.
Right. But you know, the military, they marched through Louisiana, so the people in Louisiana helped them in this, you know. So through Shreveport, they entered West Texas, and, you know what I'm saying? They didn't announce these people. Yeah. But it's like, you know, we've been going on trips. So we hit Devil Punch Bowl, Mississippi a few years ago. Okay. You know what I'm saying? For the Juneteenth celebration, because it's like, while some people were celebrating Juneteenth, they wasn't. You know what I'm saying? These people, after emancipation, they went and tried to start a community, what they said, 250, a bunch of soldiers and militiamen surrounded them and killed them right where they stood at. They had to bury them right where they stood at. So they got peach trees to grow out there freely. People won't eat them because they said it's on the blood of our people. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, while we're talking about independence, we're not really free right now. The American Constitution still say that the black man has no right. That the white man is subject to the respect. Yeah. You know, we still 3/4 of it. You know, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember the percentage, but we still not a man. You know what I'm saying? We still not a man in the United States Constitution. So it's like, you know.
Good afternoon, library. We are now serving free lunch for kids and teens ages 0 through 18 upstairs in the community room. You can come upstairs, the second floor, either take the stairs or the elevator.
Y'all hear that, man? We at the 81st Street Library in Oakland right here, man, in Deep East Oakland. Filming this right on, you know what I mean? Like right in the middle, in the heart of revolution. So yeah, that was a brief interjection, but go on, brother.
I kind of lost where we was at.
We was talking about the people of Mississippi. It was a massacre of the black people.
Devil Punch Bowl. And so, and that's not the only story. But it's a lot of examples of that. So
Yeah.
we talking about Juneteenth, we talking about being free.
Yeah.
You know, I really celebrated Juneteenth real thick for all these years until now now they
kind of commercialized it.
Right. Then when they
Yeah,
commercialized it, they took the ice cream. You know, the Juneteenth ice cream made by non-African people, and they patented it.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's another Hallmark holiday. You feel me? Now they changed it to another Hallmark holiday. It's supposed to be on the 19th. Juneteenth is significant because it could have been the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. We don't know because we couldn't read that well.
Right.
So they did it just the same way they doing with Kwanzaa. You know, Mama Makita back in the days when stores tried to sell Kwanzaa stuff, she would protest them. They would shut them stores down and wouldn't allow them to sell no canards or nothing like that. So we let them change our revolution, our liberation into a Hallmark holiday. So it's just making money for the establishment anyway. They give us whatever we want as long as it's making the money. Father's Day, Mother's Day, you know, Juneteenth. You know, it's no difference. Now it's going to be about buying gifts and buying back into this system. So if we was making our own stuff and we was generating some kind of currency to help our people, then I could appreciate it. But you have white companies patenting the name Juneteenth.
Man, y'all hear that, man? And that's why we should, with intention, support Black people, and not just Black businesses, Black people that's trying to do something positive, Black people that's trying to do something uplifting. It could be a tutor, it can be somebody, a chef, it can be anybody that's doing something that's trying to support themselves, because it's hard out here right now, and it ain't gonna get easier unless we got each other, right? We need that network, and we need to keep spending with each other. We need to keep bonding with each other, and we need to show each other a little bit more grace for this Juneteenth, right? I didn't want to talk about a little bit more about like Juneteenth and the revolutionary aspect, because something I heard was slavery was forced to end because of all the rebellions that was going on that they don't talk about. Because we know the Nat Turners and the Harriet Tubmans and shit like that, but it was more rebellions that went on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What a lot of people don't know, even in the Haitian Revolution, when the Haitians was revolting, some of them so-called slave owners took their slaves, and when they ran, they took their slaves with them and came back to America. Greedy, right? They just ran with their lives. So when these brothers and sisters came to America, they told me, you know what's going on in Haiti? We killed them and kicked them all off the island, and if you make it there, you be free. So rumors like that kept spreading. You feel me? So they hurt themselves. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why they messing with Haiti to this day. You feel me?
You know, 5 years ago, these people couldn't barely eat. They was eating mud pies. Now they got semi-automatic weapons, fully automatic weapons, and
they want to kill each other.
But where are they getting the weapons from? Because I'm seeing AR-15, so that was like American military grade weapons. So, you know what I'm saying? This is the American CIA. You know what I'm saying? You look at the labradorite and the uranium, all of the resources that they have here. So is Elon Musk heavily involved in it? You know, the Clintons have been siphoning money about it. You know, when the earthquake
they got caught. Wycliffe got caught under that shit.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So Haiti been under constant attack. When Bush was the president, they kidnapped the president of Haiti, Aristide. He changed his stuff. They was like, let's get him up out of here. Because what? He went to the French and said, we want our money back. Haiti had to pay reparations for fighting for their freedom. And so now the Haitian people want that money back. You feel me? And so today's money, that's $115 billion that we asking for. Right. So while we asking for that $115 billion, let's destabilize their situation and run out the back door with all of the resources.
And then the French put napalm in their water. They tried to poison.
Wow.
But that's no different from what's going on in Flint. That's no different from what's going on in Oakland. I took my son out of school. He was supposed to go to summer school. He was supposed to go to Harriet Tubman over there in Western Ghost Town. And I went in there, and when I went in there, and I tell you, these school system is literally like prison penitentiary pipeline. I went in there, I walked through this little hallway. It's this little middle area, and there's room here, all surrounded, like where the kids are supposed to congregate and have lunch. Bars on the windows, no sunlight coming through, right? My son, he 4. He looked at me, he said, Daddy, nah. I just have to, you feel me?
For real.
I just have to be like, all right, let's go. We about to bounce up out of here. Go get our haircut, whatever. Go talk to some good brothers. All right. Get an email later on. Oh, there's high levels of lead in the school's water, dog.
Wow. Yeah.
And what's it? Predominantly black children.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Latino,
and they
maybe
say our lead
sprinkle.
just as bad as in Detroit.
Damn.
So what happened is it was lead in the paint back in the days, and it was a big lawsuit. They were supposed to fix it. It was money allocated for that, but they didn't fix it. They just painted over the lead paint. So most of the time in impoverished communities, the lead is chipping and all of that. They got a lot of lead damage in it. So the Fruitvale district highly impacted by lead.
Right.
And what does lead to cause? Anger issues. Yeah, we hypervigilant, we mad.
Come
you know
on, man.
What I'm saying?
Talk about it.
Yeah, so it's a problem that's a direct correlation to the violence in our community.
Yeah.
You know, chemtrails, the lead poisoning.
Right.
And it's systematic, it's on purpose.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. Because some other folks, they ain't gonna take that.
Yeah.
You know, we taking what we can get because, you know what I mean, if we paying $2,200 for a 1-bedroom, you know, we got to go to 2 jobs. We ain't got time to be at City Hall talking about, hey, fix our water. We happy we got water.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm telling the black folks out there, do some filters. You know, at least something that you can do at the moment for the water. And then maybe you can't do nothing about the paint, but you go holler at your landlord and tell them, do y'all research and tell them call the health department and make them fix that shit. You feel me?
Yeah. I work with a group called ACE too. So, you know, for renter rights and stuff like that. You got slumlord landlords, hit up ACE. You know what I'm saying? We go check y'all out. We didn't help people not get evicted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're going to hold on to the rent till they fix stuff. Yeah. So, you know, I'm the chair of the UNIA Oakland Division.
Come
but
on
at the same time, we don't, you know, exactly have power everywhere. We ally and have memorandums of understanding with other groups who work specifically in the marinas.
Yeah.
I believe that love is an uncontrollable force. It's a silent killer that shows